Welcome to the Dream Team Professor podcast. My name is Scott, and in this episode, we're looking at the top point scorers and key talking points from game week 5 Sun Dream Team so far. We still have Europa League and Carabao Cup games to come this week, but this is recapping the Premier League matches from the weekend. These are my moves for the week so far. Now, for game week 5, I brought in Pedro Porro and Kulusevski in for Anthony Robinson, who obviously doesn't have European football, replacing him with a player that will have European football to try and get those extra fixtures. And so far that one probably looks okay, but I took out Luis Diaz for his 19-pointer and 2 goals against Bournemouth. I only brought him in last week and he disappointed with that blank. And then he was due to get a 0.2 full. And my sort of decisions were going to be either take out Luis Diaz or take out Eze, who Eze was due to have a rise. And I started to think that I could take Eze's rise, keep hold of him. He gets 90 minutes. And then Luis Diaz, sell him, don't take the fall. And then last week, I think he only got 60 plus 30 anyway. So I thought maybe he's not a true double game week player. Maybe I could just stick with Eze, get the price rise, and then he might end up playing a similar amount of minutes. But of course, 19 points from Diaz, 7 points from Eze is a massive blow. So that was a bad start to the week. But I decided to go Son as my 12th man this week and aim to target that Carabao Europa League match. Hopefully there could be a haul there. I look back at their previous history and they've had some big defeats from English sides previously. So I brought in Son as a 12th man. It was a bit of a punt, a bit more risky than what I usually do. But he got 2 assists, 11 points in that game against Brentford, which was really good. And the Spurs quadruple up that I'm sitting with done pretty well for the week. So obviously got James Maddison, who got me 19 points. Kulusevski, who I bought in as a budget enabler at 2.7. I just think that's a really cheap price point for someone that is really, really attacking in a pretty top side that might play 2 games a week in Europe. He ended up taking 7 corners against Brentford as well. So fairly happy with him, even though obviously it was at the expense of Luis Diaz. Sells in goal for me, just the 1 point this week. What can you really say? He got a clean sheet against Liverpool last week. Maybe expected a bit more in this one. Rico Lewis, I was never expecting him to play the Arsenal match. I'm hoping that he gets Watford this evening. But it's been a little bit of a bonus or boost to what could be Lewis's minutes after we've seen Rodri pick up. It looks like an ACL injury in that match against Arsenal. So it looks like Lewis might be staying a bit longer if he ends up getting more minutes, maybe playing in that role alongside Kovacic. Vardiol got a 4 against Arsenal, had a few shots on target in that match. And because Lewis wasn't playing and Walker was back in the team, Vardiol was playing a little bit more attacking than usual as well. So overall, been a bit underwhelming this season, but I'm still happy to keep him. And then Porro, who I bought in, got me 5 points. Eze with the 7, he had some big chances. He was unlucky, but still carries on getting bonus points. Looked fairly good. Saka with 6, he got the assist for the Gabriel goal, but had to go off at half-time, pretty much for tactical reasons, just before Arsenal decided to park the bus. And then Rodgers finally getting some returns for us with 9 points, 2 assists in his match. So finally a bit of patience has paid off for me, patience that I don't usually have. And then up top, Haaland grabbed that goal, 13 points, but I didn't captain him this week. I decided to captain Salah, who only got the 10 points in his match. So 20 points with the armband on. So currently down on if I had captained Haaland. However, it's been confirmed that Haaland isn't going to be playing that Watford game due to that family friend passing away, and he's going to be going to the funeral and having some time off. So hopefully there's a little bit of chance that Salah could get some minutes in that game against West Ham in the Carabao Cup. So not all is lost with the captaincy yet. Still is a green arrow for the week, so up from like 1.5k to 1.2 or 287. But obviously that Son 12th man has given me an extra player, so I think without Son, it probably would have been a red arrow so far this week. But still hoping that I can get Son, Porro, Kulusevski, Maddison, Saka, and actually no, so Saka's not going to play Bolton, but possibly Salah in these next few Carabao Cup and Europa League matches. Let us know how you got on this week, but we're about to go on to the recaps, looking at talking points and top point scorers so far this week. So I'm going to start off with Man City versus Arsenal, a dramatic one. It's turning out to be a really, really good rivalry with some really good games. But it was a bit of an ugly one with the sending off and controversy. But I'll try to avoid talking about that too much and talk about what happened in terms of Dream Team. So Savinho had a lovely turn against Calafiori that led to him assisting Erling Haaland. Savinho finished on 11 points, maximum bonus points, and he's looking a really good option off that right-hand side for Manchester City. Those that stuck with him and had patience, again, being rewarded because he has had a bit of an up and down season, dropping out with a couple injuries and not always getting sort of back-to-back starts, but he's looked really good. Also takes some set pieces as well. You had Vardiol, like I mentioned, back in like a more advanced position with Walker playing as that sort of third centre back and Vardiol moving into the sort of at times like a number 10 role, like how Rico Lewis was playing it. But of course, after the red card, the formations completely changed again. Rodri got that bad knee injury. Looks like he's going to be out for the season. So like I said, I think Lewis's minutes should be looking a little bit better because he played obviously with Rodri being out for the start of the season. Rico Lewis was playing alongside Kovacic at times in the midfield. So as a Lewis owner, quite like how that's panned out. Calafiori obviously got skinned for the first goal that Haaland scored, and that Haaland finish as well was brilliant. He's not quite got a right foot. It's on his right foot, but he just toe pokes it in with the outside of his left. 13 points for Haaland. So the Calafiori goal, 10 points. I'm not... Before the game, when I saw that Calafiori was starting and Timber was starting on the right-hand side, I almost thought that it could be tactical because Timber usually does the inverting, and it might have been Timber inverting off the right to cover for Ødegaard being unavailable. And without Ødegaard, that Saka, Ødegaard, Ben White triangle is sort of disrupted. So I kind of thought it could have been a tactical thing at the start of the game. But then after the game, well, Ben White came on anyway to try and help in the game. And after the game, Arteta said that Ben White was going to be rested. He did have a bit of a knock, but he'll play through anything and run through brick walls for you. So it looks like it probably was more down to an injury than tactical. So we'll have to wait and see if anything more comes of that. But I wouldn't be too bullish on going for Calafiori yet. I think I'd still want to wait and see what happens maybe in the next Premier League match. But he scored a lovely goal, 10 points. Controversy over the restart of a free kick that led to the goal. I did actually think that I get the argument, but I did think that Kyle Walker pretty much did manage to get back in position. He wasn't going to be man marking Martinelli. You always leave him quite a bit wider, and he was in line with the whole rest of the defense as well. The argument would have been, were the rest of the team organised? But at the time that Calafiori actually scored the goal, you had 10 Man City players in their own box. So they were all back in time. Haaland was still up the pitch, but yeah, I can see the argument, but I'm not accepting it. Martinelli started the last 3 matches now, so he seems to be getting better minutes. Again, this could be related to Ødegaard, Trossard getting more minutes. Just the 5 points, got an assist. I still think he does look to be sort of lacking a bit of confidence in front of goal, but he is very cheap, so could be an option with Arsenal's nice upcoming games. Kyle Walker, like I said, he started the game. I didn't think he had a great game. Obviously, he was at fault for losing Gabriel for the header as well as being partially involved in the first goal as well. So I think that's also potential positive for Rico Lewis. Gabriel done it again. Like, I've got a habit of this. Like I said, Onana's not going to score every week. I was talking to one of my mates who would deciding which centre back we thought was better, Saliba or Gabriel, when it comes to a different game, FPL. And we were kind of like, Gabriel is not going to score every week, is he? But I mean, he's done it again here. Scored in the last Premier League match, just scored again here. Corner assist from Saka, and it's two goals in 2 Premier League games for Gabriel. Real threat. He was a threat before that against Doku was marking him, and he got on the end of a header. Just looks so dangerous every time. So 9 points from Gabriel, 6 points for Saka. But like I said, Saka was subbed off at half time, which was pretty tactical before we went into a 6-3-0 formation for the rest of the second half. Trossard kicked the ball away seconds before half time. And that's Arsenal's second yellow card now for delaying the restart. After that point, game's dead, really. Yeah, disappointing. Let me know what you think. Who's in the wrong here? You can imagine which way I think. I do think it is a second yellow card, but just would like it to be given an extra yellow card to everyone else that does it, if that's the case. But getting booked for delaying the restart. But then that led to us delaying the game over and over and over again, trying to hang on to that result. Raya was brilliant again, 5 points, 9 saves. The only thing I would say with Arsenal stats as a whole, and like certain stats are going to be all over the place now, having played like basically a half here against Man City with 10 men, and then pretty much a half against Brighton with 10 men. The stats are going to kind of be all wrong. Like Ray is making a lot more saves than what he would usually make, probably because we've played with 10 men for quite a long time. Arsenal's attacking numbers, when you're looking at maybe Leicester and Southampton this week, Arsenal's attacking numbers probably aren't going to look as good because a lot of the time they've had to try and hang on and defend. So little things that you might want to take into consideration if you're thinking how attacking Arsenal have looked overall or how defensive they've looked overall. Foden on at 70th minute. Again, he's going to probably go down in price again unless he does something massive against Watford, which if he starts, I think he probably would. But he's still someone that I am interested in for next week, especially if he does start this game. John Stones come off the bench and obviously got that sickening equaliser. But yeah, I felt like it was going to come at some point, but to have it come that late in the game really was a sickener. But as an Arsenal fan, you take a point away at City. But yeah, it's enjoyable to see the rivalry going this far. Crystal Palace, Man United, 0-0. Rashford was one of the most transferred in players this week and was benched. I didn't see this one coming. Ahmad and Garnacho started the game. Bruno Fernandes in at like number 10. Garnacho was really good. I feel like if you had either Garnacho or Rashford, you'd feel fairly hard done by this game. Garnacho had a 1-on-1 that hit the target, was pretty decent. Hit the crossbar in the first half, which was unlucky. The rebound came back down to Bruno Fernandes, who then hit the crossbar from it as well. Yeah, very, very unlucky for points with the Man United attackers, I think. So 3 points for Garnacho's poor. Rashford came off the bench in the 61st, but just got the 1 point. But at least you get the price rises, and you've got another fixture still to come anyway. Bruno Fernandes, again, I think he's been pretty unlucky this season. Got a few assists, didn't he, last week, but just 4 points in this one. Again, tackle points, close to bonus, just 1 ppm off bonus. And like I said, hit the bar. So I still think Bruno does look promising. I think he still could have a good week. De Ligt, threat from corners, 3 shots on target. And of course, has had a previous goal, I think, as well, hasn't he, De Ligt? Goal in that Southampton match, 17-pointer there, 11 points here. So he's looking like a decent option. We'll find out later this week whether or not he'll play in Europa League. But he's looking good for the price. Eze, shot on target, probably should have done better with it. He had a massive chance at the end as well that he missed. Still came away with 7 points. He was one of the ones that got points added on overnight, 3 bonus points. But yeah, if you've had Eze from the start, I think you've got no complaints. He's been brilliant. Martinez, I think probably should have seen red for that tackle. I know he did get the ball, but just needless. Jumped in the air, 2-footed tackle, landed on top of the ball. But if he lands anywhere else, he's going to get a straight red. But I think I've seen them given anyway. Strong game for both keepers. 3 clean sheets now for Onana. United obviously have had 4, but he didn't play that Carabao Cup match. And then Henderson, if you kept the faith with him or just couldn't move him on this week, you did get rewarded with a 10-pointer. But 7 saves. I think I saw that was the most saves Henderson's ever made in a Premier League match. Rasmus Højlund off the bench in the second half, but just a 1 point. But that's about it. Other than that, Ugarte still not starting in the Premier League, but did come off the bench. Maybe we'll see him starting midweek, but you'd expect that he starts coming into the team soon. Spurs versus Brentford. So a game that I had probably more investment in than I normally would, having 4 Spurs players in my team. Disgusting. And Buemo, though, first minute of the game scored for Brentford. And this is like back-to-back matches they've done this now. Done it against Man City in the game before with that Vissa goal. Done it again here. Just seems to be like a kick-off routine that they have where they go back to the keeper, punt it long, and just push people right up, and it's causing people problems. 4th goal of the season for Mbuemo. Again, that's someone that I wasn't really keen on because we need to look towards these European players now, but they do have a nice fixture run, 11 points. I still wouldn't be going there, but he's now playing striker as well. Dominic Solanke, his first goal now for Spurs, came off a Maddison shot, rebounded to him, and just put into the net. So it counts as a Maddison assist as well. Solanke finished with 11 points. Son, I feel like he just looks a little bit off it compared to his usual self. So I think a few times he looked a bit slow to take the shot. Now, I don't know if that was because I had him as 12th man and I was just desperate for him to score. There was a few opportunities. I think he had a one-on-one that I think he normally scores, and then one when he rounded the keeper, and you think he normally puts that in, but both times didn't quite get there. He got an assist for the Johnson goal. Johnson's now got 2 goals in 2. Son 11 points, Johnson 10 points. I feel like this still could be like the front 4 potentially, or front 5 even, for Europe. We'll have to wait and see, but I feel like they probably should go strong, not just because I have them in my team. Vicario, juggling the box outside of the penalty area, went unpunished, but I think the rules of the game is that the VAR couldn't intervene with it because it wasn't a goal scoring opportunity, or he couldn't have been sent off because it wasn't a goal scoring opportunity. So yeah, got away with one there, but he made a few saves in this game, 5 saves, but 3 bonus points as well. But just overall, I think he looks a dodgy keeper. He's not someone that I'd want to have in goal in my team, I don't think. Son got an assist for Maddison's goal. And Maddison was just insane this game. One of the best games I've seen him play, for Spurs at least. 88 minutes played, a goal, an assist, 2 shots on target, a big chance created. He had tackle points, did get a yellow card, and then 13 player performance marks. So 7 dribbles, 4 fouls, 1, an interception, foul conceded, and then 88% pass completion. So just an all-round great game. 19 points for Maddison. Yeah, someone that I've had since the beginning, because last season he was so good for bonus points, but of course he did only have 1 game a week. Whereas this season, if he does end up playing 2 games a week with Europe, he could be a really good player to have. Spurs finally taking the chances that they've been creating as well. So it was a bit of a gamble for me this week to go this Spurs heavy, but I was looking at some of the stats. I've only got the stats here from since this weekend's games, but they were like one of the top teams for possession, one of the top teams for shots on target per match. They're now 2nd for shots on target per match. I think City overtook them. City overtook them for possession as well, but I guess this is because of the 10 men situation. They're 1st for the amount of corners they've had. I mentioned that Kulusevski took like 7 corners and Maddison was taking plenty off the other side. Second most touches in the opposition box. So just all round the stats were there to say that they were doing well in attack, but the goals just weren't going in. So maybe they've turned a corner a little bit with that. And I'm sure the Karabakh match will help things as well. Liverpool 3, Bournemouth 0. So Semenyo had a goal ruled out for offside earlier in the game, but yeah, no complaints. Kelleher started in goal for Liverpool. So you could, or a few of us were looking potentially, could we have a cheap keeper on the cards? Kelleher played big chunks of last season at a cheap price and done pretty well. Kelleher 2 million, but it seems like Alisson could be in contention for next week. So I think that's ruled that one out, I think. Early couple shots on target for Diaz and Salah, both looking dangerous on the wings. Really, these wingers look good in the slot system, especially. But Diaz got his first goal, rounding the keeper. I don't know what Kepa was doing. He came out and was just left in no man's land after a long ball from Konate. Diaz rounded him, put it into the net. So Konate, 2 attacking returns in 2 now, I think, for Konate. After we all had an idea of maybe starting with Kwanzaa in a few different fantasy formats. So Konate definitely seems to be thriving at the minute. There was a nice assist from Trent for Diaz's second goal in quick succession. So that puts Diaz on 5 for the season. Trent now has 2 assists for the season. I do think he was pretty unlucky. So Trent's had or pretty lucky, sorry. Trent has had a 14-point haul here. He's had an assist. He's had a clean sheet, 4 tackles. He's just 1 player performance mark off hitting 3 bonus as well, which is unlucky, but could have been quite different. He almost scored an own goal, which would have obviously wiped out the clean sheet, given him an own goal, but Kelleher bailed him out. So fairly fortunate there. 2 assists for the season. Trent has been good. Nunes, lovely goal, actually. Started the striker, so that was a surprise to see that he was starting. There was a lot of not debate, but like the leaks online was sort of hinting that Jota couldn't be starting, or maybe that Diaz wasn't starting. That it doesn't seem like the leaks have really got a clue this season compared to last, where the kickoff times have changed. So we just have to sort of make our best guesses, I feel like. But Nunes, lovely goal. Started as striker, cutting off the right and put it in with his left. Jota was benched and unused sub, so I guess we see him against West Ham. Salah got an assist, which puts him on 4 assists for the season, 3 goals. So again, having a great season so far. Salah makes him the 3rd highest scoring player in the game, so 10 points. Almost had 3 bonus points as well, which is pretty high for Salah. 4 shots on target. Chiesa and Gakpo both came on for Nunes and Diaz in the 72nd minute. It sounds like that Chiesa could be... so Salah obviously got the most minutes out of those attackers, played the full 90. But it seems like Chiesa probably now is going to start the West Ham match in midweek. So we'll see how that one goes. And then I imagine Gakpo probably starts as well with Jota. Gravenberch, points again, 5 points, just consistent and fairly cheap. McAllister had 6 points, but it's been one of the lesser scoring midfielders for Liverpool so far. And then a quiet game for Szoboszlai. Got an early sub in the 61st, but at that point, game was done 3-0. So I guess he might even just get a rest for the Carabao Cup as well, and then save him because he's played a lot of minutes so far. Fulham 3, Newcastle 1. So Isak was fit to play. We weren't sure. Eddie Howe, as usual, didn't really spill the beans with his press conference, but he was fit to play. So I think a lot of people did keep him as well, because there was supposed to be a double game week this week for him. But the pitch got waterlogged, wrecked, and now the game has been moved and they don't have a double game week either. So owning Isak this season, especially if you kept hold of him all this time, has been atrocious. Still blanked 2 points. That game will now be pushed to next week, but I think just sell him at this point. He's cursed. Joe Linton grabbed a goal early, but was offside in the build-up. Raul Jimenez started back-to-back goals as the striker. Muniz has sort of dropped from that starting striker role now, it seems. And yeah, Jimenez scored again. Muniz did get an assist off the bench, but I think he's now lost that number 9 spot. Adama grabbed an assist. He keeps returning. 1 goal, 2 assists for the season. 7 points in this one. Having a really, really good season. And speaking of good seasons, ESR, the signing from Arsenal, he's done it again. Grabbed a goal in this one, 10 points, combining with Iwobi. The Arsenal combinations there. Iwobi, Smith Rowe, Neto, Nelson, all doing really well in this game. 2 goals, 1 assist now for Smith Rowe. Harvey Barnes scored his 3rd Premier League goal in a row, cutting in from the left. 3 goals, 1 assist for the season. I thought Gordon again looked quieter than usual off of the right. He just doesn't seem to be as good on that side as he was on the left, but obviously Harvey Barnes thriving there. And then a huge mistake, an unusual mistake from Bruno Guimaraes in a dangerous position. Played the ball straight into Nelson. or intercepted by Nelson for him to get back-to-back goals now. He scored in the Cup midweek last week and now scored in the Premier League. 1 ppm off bonus still for Bruno Guimaraes, but I think people again will be looking to sell if they haven't already ahead of Europe. Trippier did get a start, but no return. And just looking at Newcastle's defence so far this season, they've got Man City next week, and typically I think I would have probably avoided that. It's at Newcastle. But the form that Haaland's been in and the form that the Newcastle defence has been in, I wouldn't be against going for Haaland captaincy for next week, I don't think. Villa 3, Wolves 1. So Wolves started strong, pressing really, really high actually, and Cunha grabbed the goal from that pressing. Second goal of the season, 11 points for him. Martinez had to make a few saves. He's quite a popular keeper now for people targeting European fixtures, getting 2 a week, but just the 3 points. I imagine he probably won't play in midweek. John McGinn and Digne came off at half-time. Wasn't sure if it was tactical or injury. It's turned out that McGinn is a confirmed injury, but Digne looked like it was just tactical, trying to get back into the game. Ramsey and Onana also got subbed early in the 60th, but Onana still managed to get 5 points, got a bonus, 4 tackles. Tielemans, absolutely running things. He's one of them players I've been talking about for a little while, and still not managed to get him in my team yet, but he is just flying this season. So 11 points in this match, taking some of the corners, but I think that was because Digne had come off. Digne was taking some previously. Got an assist, 3 bonus points, tackle points, 2 big chances created. He just seems like every week. This is the fixture ticker from ffstuff.co.uk, free to look at. But every time I look at this match centre, his whole run of points is just, there's always numbers on it. There's barely ever a blank. No shot on target in this one, but he has been getting them recently. But yeah, 3 bonus, 3 tackles, 2 big chances created. He's a serious dream team asset this season. 9th overall and 5th midfielder in the game. 8.2 average. And probably if he avoids playing part of this Wickham game, he's going to probably get another 0.3 rise again. So slowly his price is creeping up now. Wolves, sorry, before I come on to that, Rodgers finally got an attack and return, assisting Watkins, and then got a second assist for Duran coming on. Duran just cannot stop scoring off the bench. So Duran got 8 points, Ollie Watkins got 10, Rodgers got 9 for those 2 assists. So Rodgers doing well for the price still. He's currently at 2.8. Wolves, it's looking bad for them. They've had another defensive injury with Mascara. Looked a horrible one as well. I think that was from a Rodgers tackle. Nothing wrong with the tackle, I didn't think, but I think that's knee ligaments as well. And they're going to be down to the bare bones in defence to play Liverpool next. So you may not want to sell your Liverpool players, especially if it's Luis Diaz. Lovely cross in from Tielemans, assisting for a Konsa goal. Konsa was playing right back, so it looks like they've got rid of who did they have? Bogard before they had Nedeljkovic. So it looks like Konsa maybe back at right back. And last season, Konsa, when he was playing right back, was doing really well for bonus, and he's done pretty well here. He was unlucky not to get 3 bonus, so he got 7 player performance marks, which is 1 mark off of 3 bonus points. So if Konsa continues playing right back, he could be someone that's interesting for 2 games a week as well. Then West Ham 0, Chelsea 3. So Sancho started the match at left wing. There was comments before from their manager that Sancho, Mudryk will be the left wingers. Madueke and Neto would be the right wingers. Palmer and João Felix would be the number 10s, and Jackson and Kunku would be competing for the striker spots. So it looks like Sancho is now the left winger in this Chelsea team. Done well again in this game. The first goal, couple goals, awful defending from West Ham. They just were not at it in this game. Jackson was allowed to run clear through the middle of the pitch. I don't know where that massive gap came from. And then Sancho got the assist for that goal. But then there was a massive hole again for the second goal in defence. West Ham just all over the place. Ball straight through the middle. Then Jackson was through for his second goal, and just there was no one even close to him. It looked like West Ham made a really early sub to try and combat that because it was their new signing. Rodriguez was dragged at 38 minutes and replaced by, I think it was Thomas Souček. I think I can't see it here on the subs, but I'm sure it was Souček that came on for him. But yeah, at that point, it was already done. Jackson, 21 points, 2 goals, 1 assist. He got the assist for a Palmer goal later in the game. I actually thought Palmer was relatively quiet in the game, but did still get his goal. 9 points, was subbed off in the 64th. But that was, relatively quiet, I thought, for Palmer. Maybe you'll be a little bit worried that he could end up playing Barrow now that he's been subbed early, but I still think that would be a big risk to play him. Jackson, 21 points, 2 goals, 1 assist, 4 goals, 2 assists for the season. Interesting to know whether Jackson will start in Europe or it'll be Nkunku. I'd imagine they'd split it, I think, give Nkunku Europe, but we'll have to wait and see what happens in game week 6. I did think that West Ham were robbed of a penalty. The contact was supposedly outside of the box, but I think it carried on well into the box, and I just don't know where'd you draw the line. Contact was initiated outside, but I think that he was actually dragged down inside the box, but it wasn't given, and it wouldn't have made a difference. West Ham just weren't good enough anyway. Kudus was the only real threat, I thought, all game. He did score, and it was disallowed. But again, I just don't think you can pick him at the moment without having European football and West Ham having their, I think it was worst ever start in the Premier League. I may have to double check that one, but I'm sure I heard the commentator say that. Neto, Nkunku, and João Felix all came on in the 60th minute. So be interesting to know if they fully rotate the front line for Barrow or whether they start some of the players that started this game. But I'm leaning towards they'll still fully rotate, I think. Defensively, another clean sheet for them. But again, I don't really want to go there until I know what sort of lineup they're going to start for Europe, because you still want to get 2 games a week from these players if you can. If you found that useful, please do leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I'll still have my top players to target for game week 6 coming later in the week. But if you're looking for some more Dream Team content, myself, Ben, Tony, and Fergie from Fantasy Football Hub, who's a previous winner of Sun Dream Team, we had a podcast last night where we previewed game week 6, looking at the players we like the look of the most, how things have gone so far this season. So that will be out later this week. So click the link in the bio, head over to the Dream Team Tonic podcast and check out that latest episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.